relative edge. Really?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to call the July 5th Common Council meeting to order. I will ask our clerk to call the roll to determine a quorum.
Alderperson Probst.
Here.
Reinke.
Here.
Rote.
Here.
Vitale.
Here.
Weigel.
Here.
Barzak.
Here.
Chaplesky. Haas.
Here.
Lysick.
Here.
May.
Here.
10 present, none excused.
We have a quorum. I ask that you rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led this evening by Alderperson Probst. We have 4 items up for public hearing this evening on item D on your agendas. I will ask the clerk to read public hearing number 1.
A hearing on an ordinance to amend subsections 12.06, 12.40, and 12.42 of the revised municipal code relative to tobacco retailers' definitions and requirements.
Mr. Stiebel?
The CD will be looking at the tobacco retailers and primarily the definitions thereof. The existing conditions are tobacco stores are permitted in C1, C3, and M1, or all the way up through M1. But in our zoning code, we don't have any definition of vape and e-cigarettes and tobacco paraphernalia. The FDA has extended its authority to cover all tobacco products, and this is part of the rationale at this time to take a look at these other issues. The proposed ordinance primarily is going to give us a clear definition of what a tobacco retailer is, and that's primarily some entity that provides more than 20% of their floor space for selling tobacco-type products. A licensed tobacco licensee is just someone that has less than 20%. That would be like a gas station or whatever. Also, the ordinance, as currently written, would take a look at removing C1, the downtown area, from that. But that's something that I think is open for further debate. Also, as part of this, we're setting a $1,000 buffer around schools, libraries, parks, and other tobacco retailers. If we adopted that ordinance, there would be about 37 parcels of land to where a tobacco retail shop could locate. If you used a 500-foot buffer, there'd be about 233. The Plan Commission has reviewed this recommendation, is recommending approval, and if you have any additional questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
Thank you, Mr. Stiebel. Are there any comments or questions from the members of the Common Council?
Mayor Devine?
Alderman Weigel?
John, a question came up of grandfathering. So let's say we have 2 of the stores that would fall under this new 20%, and it's 20% square footage in a store. Mm-hmm. So we're going to send somebody in to measure that?
If it gets to, only time we would measure it if it became an issue, then we would go measure. But to answer your question on the grandfather, all existing businesses are grandfathered.
Okay, so if we currently have 2 stores that are next to each other that may be more than 20% tobacco or tobacco related,
or located within 1,000 feet of each other,
or with the school buffers and all that,
grandfathered on all conditions.
Okay, and I'll be honest with you, I don't think the downtown, which is essentially the C1, has had a chance to formally weigh in on it. The director is currently on vacation, I believe, this week, but the board members that I spoke to were very concerned about the C1 prohibition, and I probably would not be in favor of that also. So it's my understanding from my co-alderperson here that C1 prohibition is going to be removed from the ordinance, most likely. So
that was my impression as well.
Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Weigel. Are there any other comments or questions from the Common Council?
Mayor Devine?
Alderman Probst?
I do have an amended ordinance in front of me that will take C1 out, just to confirm. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions from the council?
Mayor Devine.
Alderperson Reinke?
John, would this prevent the proliferation of, say, 3 or 4 cigarette stores in a block?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions from the council? See none, are there any members of the audience that have comments or questions on this public hearing? Okay, seeing none, we will close public hearing number 1, and I will ask our clerk to read public hearing number 2.
A hearing on the special use permit to reestablish occupancy for a mixed-use commercial and residential building located at 6416 through 6418 West National Avenue.
Mr. Stevel.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You'll probably recognize this building. I think it's been before the Common Council and a lot of bodies within the city for a lot of years. It's currently a mixed-use property with commercial on the ground floor and a multifamily tenant above. It has a lot of problems. The city has been trying to get this property resolved for many years. In 2011, we issued a raise order, and the Plan Commission and the Common Council have approved special uses to allow the ownership to make the necessary repairs to the property, but they've never been done. In 2014, the city declared it an abandoned nuisance property, and we're proceeding with to get the property renovated. Now, the city attorney's office is prepared to go to court for seeking a demolition order, or we have the demolition order, because the current owner is technically a new owner. Now, there's some discussion whether they're the same or they just happen to use the same agent or whatever the case is. We still anticipate that they probably will not comply. But because they do have technically our new owner, legally we need to give them the opportunity to perform. And that's the purpose of this hearing this evening. As part of the special use, we're going to give them 30 days to contract with the professional pest removal. This property probably has the largest infestation of rats in the city. We'll also give them 30 days to apply for a building permit. And as currently written, the ordinance would allow them until November 1st to complete the project that we estimate to be about $75,000. We've approved their plans a number of times, and we're still valid. The Planning Commission, and I can certainly appreciate their frustration, voted to deny the special use and also to deny the site and landscaping. The Planning Commission, as you all are well aware, is an advisory body to the Mayor and Common Council, and so this is just their advice. The staff, on the other hand, is recommending on the advice of council that we approve both of these so that we give them the opportunity to perform so that we can, once they don't perform as we anticipate, we can proceed with the demolition process. But we don't want to start the demolition process and then have a court order stop us because we violated some due process or whatever. So with that, we're recommending approval. If you have additional questions, I or a representative of the owner will be glad to answer them.
Thank you, Mr. Stevel. Are there comments or questions on this item from the council?
Mayor Devine?
Alderman Weigel.
John, I just want to understand this correctly, that there is a chance that this new owner will redeem the property and build what at least staff would approve of. I see the Plan Commission, I mean, their denial, I guess I don't know what they based it on, but I mean, if the building gets redeemed and fixed, are we going to be happy with the way it looks? I mean, staff signed off on it?
The plans that we've approved previously would be fine.
Okay.
They've just never performed, and we certainly hope they do, but we are
Not confident.
preparing for both eventualities.
Okay. I just want to make sure that if they decide to build the building that we've approved, that we'll be happy with the appearance of it, and we will be, correct? Thank you.
Thank you,
Mr.
Alderman
Mayor.
Alderman Weigel. Alderman Vitale.
Yeah, John, I mean, we have experience with that location there based on the previous, what I call it, I don't know if he was a owner or contractor, So, I mean, he talked to me a few times, he made a lot of promises, well, those promises never been fulfilled. So I hope this guy, whoever the person is, I wish him well, that he will follow through some of the direction given by your department to really go ahead and, because it's been kind of nuisance building with rodents, and people sleep inside their building, So I hope we will be able to really come to a conclusion of that this man will follow through, Thank you.
Our goal is to give them every opportunity to be
Yes.
successful.
Thank you, Alderman Vitale. Any other comments or questions from the council?
Mayor Devine,
Alderman May.
typically when we grant a special use, we've got an idea of the tenant. What is the tenant plan to be in this facility?
We have not heard if they do. That's a private business issue if they do or don't. We are going to require them to complete the restoration of the building.
Any other comments or questions from the council? Seeing none, are there any comments or questions from the audience on public hearing number 2?
My name is Patricia Oak Sobczak. I am a manager at that property, next door to the west of that building. Gloria Rosman is the owner. I came there in 2010. That building has had 3 people that owned it since I've been there. And the last one did do a rubber roof on the front flat top piece. He did a lot of repairs inside, but then they couldn't afford to keep it up, so they left. And when they left the door about that much chopped off. So the rats have made homes in there. God knows what else is in there. I was on the 2nd floor when they were doing the work, and apparently all the conduit had been ripped out again twice. I think they had it ripped out from people stealing it. And yes, there were people living in there. We saw the lights on at night. They must have had like battery-operated lights. I called the police a couple of times because I saw people in there. I knew they shouldn't be there. Then the last person that was there put a dumpster out there. That dumpster never was moved. People threw all kinds of stuff in there, and we started having rat problems right next door. So we've been putting rat poison. It's almost a losing battle. The house next to that one has a huge hole dug right into the foundation that rats went into that house. We're doing everything we can to avoid that. My landlady wants to buy that property if it's raised and allow us to have a parking lot there. And the person that came and did pictures that apparently you're seeing those most recent ones, he said it would probably be a good thing. We could go through the back and come in and park from there. We can't use the front as an access to National, but we could use the back. And apparently she's tried to do this before, and it never came to be. So we're offering that as an option. The person that had this property in 2014, that it was actually taken away or whatever, ran out of money. So that's my concern. You're going to get somebody in there who's, okay, good faith, wants to do something with it, but do they have the means to go forward and complete the task? That upstairs, that building should be knocked down. It's all uneven, and you can see the way they put the floor in. It's like little wavy tiles that they put in there, or wood pieces. I don't know if it's that laminate or whatever, but it's not smooth. It's not straight flooring. So I believe the building has a lot of problems that are beyond what normally would. I mean, 75,000, you said it's the value? They'll put 75,000 in it just to keep it even looking halfway decent. And we also have another option. We'd like to know if they're going to raise that. There's a lot of things in there that are usable, doors that never were used, whole frames of the structure, that we would like to buy those pieces. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Does anybody else in the audience have comments or questions?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Rodney Carter. I'm an attorney with White, Hirschbeck, Dudek in Milwaukee, and I represent Midwest Commercial Funding. And I have with you tonight Mr. Robert Chandler, who is a representative of Midwest Commercial Funding. Midwest Commercial Funding just foreclosed on a number of loans and obligations involving the owner of this building. So those loans are for properties in a number of communities throughout the metropolitan area, and we're scrambling right now, quite honestly, to get our arms around everything and to hone in on the issues and what needs to be addressed. No one appeared at the Plan Commission meeting on behalf of Midwest Commercial because the foreclosure had just taken place, and they didn't actually receive notice of the Plan Commission hearing. But we're here tonight, and we're asking you to grant the special use permit that's before you. We're aware that there were problems with this property. There were obviously problems with the other properties owned by this same individual that have been foreclosed on CCAP will verify that there were a number of foreclosure actions, and it'll verify those timelines, that all of them recently, within the last, 60 days, Rob, came to conclusion? Beginning of April. And that we're trying to move ahead as best we can. We've reviewed the proposed recommendation from staff, the resolution with the deadlines. We're willing to adhere to the strict deadlines that the city's proposing. We aren't here to argue with them. We intend to comply, and we intend to be a good neighbor. As Mr. Chandler will tell you when he speaks, Midwest Commercial is a business property owner already in the city, has a couple of other projects and developments going on that haven't been thorns in the city's side, and it's our desire tonight, assuming that the special use permit is granted, that this would be the last that you see of us and that this project goes through, and that what you see out there is cleaned up and the plans are adhered to. Thank you.
Thank you.
One thing, my apartment is right there. I'm in the first unit in the front of that building on the west side. There is just space about this wide. Invariably go in there almost every week, burn wood, and I've cleaned it up several times. Broken glass, condoms, used condoms. It's a trash mess back there. So what I want to do is, for the person that's interested in buying the property, allows us to put some kind of a self-supported fencing of some sort. I have a couple of things that I was going to share my ideas. So if we can work together, if they end up with that property, I'd like to see if we could work something out to prevent people from going between there.
Hello, I'm Rob Chandler with Midwest Commercial Funding. Just to speak to some of the concerns that they have with the property. I'm aware that there are many issues with this property. We came into ownership of this property in April, and I've been in contact with the Department of Neighborhood Services as well as Jenna Mertens to try to put together a plan to get this property put back together. We fully intend on putting this property back to a saleable state, and we've been working with Anderson Commercial Group to bring in a tenant, to speak to your comment, for when it's a finished product. I'm currently working on a couple of projects within the city of West Dallas, one being Element 84 on the corner of 84th and Greenfield, just to speak to our capabilities of being able to repair the property. Like we said, we're willing to adhere to what you guys need us to do, and we just like that opportunity. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Does anybody else in the audience have comments or questions on public hearing number 2? Okay, seeing none, we will close public hearing number 2. I will ask our clerk to read public hearing number 3.
A hearing on the special use permit for Bright Minds Family Child Care, a proposed daycare to be located at 8802 West Beecher Street.
Mr. Stevel?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On 88th and Beecher, you may recognize this property. We've had it before us a couple of times. We had originally scheduled a public hearing for this special use because it's a daycare center that requires special use. But a funeral home had jumped in and wanted to buy the property, and so we had some meetings on that. That funeral home has decided to find another location, so now we're back to the daycare center. Though about kids from 6 weeks to 13 years old, about a little over 50 kids. As an outdoor play area, we'll talk about that in a minute. And the parking lot will be used for drop-off and pickup. And the hours of operation, 6:30 to 6 on Monday through Friday, and 8 to 5:30 Saturday and Sunday. On the parking, 13 parking spaces will be required per our zoning code. 23 are provided. The neighboring parking lot, as you may recall, that the funeral home was looking at acquiring will not be part of this project, nor will anybody be allowed to park in that unpaved surface. The additional landscaping, most of the landscaping plans are required just to fix up what has deteriorated along the front part here, which is this here, will be repopulated with plantings, as well as the landscaping area along here. And the Plan Commission did recommend an additional landscaped island at that location. The backyard, there's currently a dilapidated building that will be torn down, and that'll be basically about a 2,000 square foot play area, which is to be about 75 square foot per child. Architecturally, the building will remain fairly consistent with what it is today. There'll be an additional fire door on the west side of the property, and the panels along the, excuse me, the east side. On the west side, these will be repaired and a new facade placed on there. Also, the wheel stops will be replaced either with traditional wheel stops or poured curb, whichever the owner desires. The signage will be removed from the building, and we'll explore a new siding plan at a later date. No additional lighting is proposed for the site. The Plan Commission has reviewed this recommendation, or this special use, has recommended approval. And if you have additional questions, I, a representative of the owner, would be glad to answer them.
Thank you, Mr. Stiebel. Are there any comments or questions from the Common Council?
Mayor Devine.
Alderman Lysick?
Mr. Stiebel, where will the children be dropped off and picked up?
In the parking lot.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions from the council? Seeing none, are there any comments or questions from the members of the audience? Okay, seeing none, we will close public hearing number 3. I will ask our clerk to read public hearing number 4.
A hearing on the special use permit for Endless Autosport, an existing automobile accessory part sales store, proposing to establish a vehicle repair and service business to be located within an existing building at 10923 West Mitchell Street.
Mr. Stiebel.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In this building, it's a large building. They'll only take about 7,800 square feet. They're technically a retail sales store of high-end automotive supplies. The owner decided to change their business model and to add in the installation of some of those, and that's why we are here today, because that requires a special use. And because of the noise issue, because they ramp up the motors to see how they perform, whether it's RPM or overall performance, it makes a great deal of noise. And we'll talk about that in a minute as well. Hours of operation are 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday, and 9 to 6 p.m. on Saturdays and Sundays, and they may have additional by appointment. There are no exterior changes planned. No vehicles will be stored outside at night. The site currently has will require 126 parking spaces. Not in addition to this site, the entire project area would meet that, and they have about 130 parking spaces overall. The city has received several noise complaints, and that's why we're here today. The planning division and the health department went out there, met with the ownership, and listened to the noise and determined that it can get exceedingly loud. We have recommended that garage doors be closed during all operations. The most important part would be that a noise barrier be placed around this dyno machine so that it could be, the sound be muffled. And then once they're into operation, the special use would also require them to have an outside independent contractor do an independent noise analysis to assure that the abutting neighbors in the building and the residential neighbors in the neighborhood are not inconvenienced by this use. The Plan Commission has reviewed this recommendation and for the special use has recommended approval. If you have additional comments or questions, I'll be glad to answer them, or a representative of the owner.
Thank you, Mr. Stiebel. Are there any comments or questions from the members of the Common Council?
Mayor Devine.
Alderperson Reinke.
I, as an alderperson of that district, have received several complaints. As you have indicated, there was staff from the health department, the police department, the development department, and the 2 alderpersons. Both of us also attended the meeting, and we did offer a suggestion to the owner of this business. From what I understand, the dyno machine obviously is the culprit for the noise. A lot of the noise is emitted through because of this big machine. The suggestion was made that the doors be closed when this machine was in operation, and also that they encapsulate this dyno machine. as far as you know, has this been done, the encapsulation take place? Or-
I'm not sure if it's been done yet, but as a condition of this approval, if you should approve it tonight, before they would get occupancy, it would have to be installed.
I see. Okay, one of the complainants, on behalf of his grandmother, went in to visit this business this particular evening because the noise was so horrendous. And he observed that the garage doors were open, and there was a lot of noise that was coming from this business. So basically, it doesn't sound like they're listening to what we have suggested. My fear is that once they get this permit, that they won't close the doors. They'll leave them open when this particular machine is operating, and it is a loud noise for the surrounding neighborhood. So I just wanted to make the aldermen aware of what's going on at the business.
And if that should happen and they don't close the doors or they don't have that encapsulated, we will proceed to revoke the special use.
Does anybody else on the Common Council have questions or comments?
Mayor Devine,
Alderman Barzak?
just to be clear, John, it's not the dyno that makes the noise, it's the car that's on the dyno that's making the noise, is that correct?
I think it's probably both, but I think they'll rev up a car to like 140 miles an hour. So it's going to be making some, in cooperation with both of them, it's making a huge amount of noise.
Got it, thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions from the Common Council? Seeing none, are there any comments or questions from the members of the audience? Okay, seeing none, we'll close public hearing number 4. And we will move on to item E on your agendas, which is citizen participation. This is an opportunity for residents to address the council on any matters of interest to them. We ask that you keep your comments to approximately 5 minutes, and we aim to keep this portion of our agenda to about a half an hour. Does anybody wish to address the council under citizen participation this evening? You know the drill.
I live at 65th and National, and the farmers market's kitty corner from where I live. There is a flood of traffic there Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, and Sundays, and there is potentially hazardous situations that go on. There's a number of accidents that came right in front of me, you know. People with wheelchairs, people with canes can't even get past the traffic. You know, they won't stop. There's, like, if they could even put a temporary sign out while those farmer market days are going on, because, I mean, literally, people are risking their lives trying to get across the street. So I am hoping that, if this is the right forum, I don't know, but I'm hoping that there's some way to prevent people from ending up being injured or another accident again, and we just started the season again.
You could give me a call or reach out to your alderman, and
Okay.
we can look at possible
And who's my
adjustments or
alderman?
solutions.
Right here.
First
Hello.
district.
Okay, thank you very much,
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you. Does anybody else in the audience, does anybody wish to participate in citizen participation this evening? Okay, seeing none, we will close citizen participation. We will move on to item F on your agendas. Our standing committees will be meeting during recess. Those room numbers are listed on page 2 of your agendas. Moving to item G, the mayor's report. I just have a couple of things this evening. I want to briefly thank all of those who made the Independence Day festivities happen. I want to give a special props to Alderperson Reinke for all the work that she did emceeing the fireworks last night, and her and her celebrations committee do a lot. The rec department did a lot, and a lot of great people pitched in both physically and financially to make all of these events happen, and we couldn't do that without them. So thank you. There is still time for residents to sign up for the 2016 Mayor's Activity Challenge. This is about the third or fourth year we're doing this, and I think we have around 400 people signed up, but this is a challenge to be active 30 minutes a day for most of the days between July 11th and August 11th, and if you complete the challenge and document and record everything, you win a limited edition select version West Allis Moves 30-a-day t-shirt. We also, on the city's website, have 30 suggestions to get moving during this stretch for 30 minutes, including biking, walking. There's some yoga activities in the parks, just walking around the farmer's market, all kinds of suggestions and ideas on there. So I would encourage anybody interested to sign up and get involved. It's kind of fun. We hear stories every year about families heading out together, multi-generational families with moms, grandmas, and children taking long walks and getting to spend more family time together. So there is info on the city's website. And lastly, it's a little ways away, but on Monday, the 25th of July, is our National Night Out festivities at the Farmers Market. That begins at 5 o'clock and goes until about 9. And if you've been to that before, you will know that it's a great family-friendly activity with lots of events, lots of information booths, and the police department and the police reserve put on a great event on July 25th. That does conclude the mayor's report this evening. Do we have any reports from the alderpersons?
Mayor Devine.
Alderman Haas?
Yeah, one issue regarding item 34 on our council's agenda, that is a joint referral to Administration and Finance and Public Works. And we will be meeting jointly, those two committees, immediately after the recess in room 128.
Thank you. Any other alderpersons' reports?
Mayor Devine.
Alderman Lysick?
I move for approval of the Common Council, of the minutes of the Common Council regular meeting of June 21st, 2016.
Second.
There's a motion with a second by Alderperson Ranky. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item J, I'll ask for a motion to refer item 6 to the city attorney.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by, who was that? Alderperson Probst, second by Alderman May. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item K, standing committee reports. Alderman Chaplesky.
I'd like to bring everyone's attention to items number 7 through 20 on tonight's agenda, various license, communications, and reports that were voted for approval, subject to necessary requirements, or to place on file by all 5 members, with the exception of 15 and 16, which were voted to deny. I'd like to move for the adoption of this portion of the committee's report.
Second.
There's a motion with a second by Alderman Weigel. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Then we have item number 21. This is the change in the ordinance, which was voted to disapprove by 3 members, with 2 members voting against. I'd like to move for this portion of the committee's report.
Second.
There is a motion with a second by Alderman Barzak. Is there any discussion?
Mayor Devine.
Alderman Lysick?
Just for clarification, and a vote no on this would be in favor of passing the ordinance, and a vote yes is in favor of killing the ordinance, so that everybody understands, correct?
Thank you. Any other discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Probst.
No.
Ranky.
No.
Rote.
Aye.
No.
Vitale. Weigel.
Aye.
Barzak.
Aye.
Chaplesky.
Aye.
Haas.
No.
Lysick.
No.
May.
No.
4 in favor, 6 opposed.
Okay, motion carries.
Mayor Devine?
The negative motion carries.
Mayor Devine?
Motion fails.
Motion's turned down.
Motion's turned down.
Motion was
Motion to approve.
Disapproved. All right, we have a motion to approve
Second.
and a second by Alderman Lysick. Double negatives kill you every time. Any discussion?
Mayor Devine?
Alderman Barzak?
my understanding in this particular ordinance, and the reason that I was against it, is that this puts our businesses in the city of West Dallas at an extreme disadvantage. Back when the smoking ban came out, that was one of the big issues, is that should a municipality ban the smoking ban in a restaurant or a bar, and it actually has been proven at that time that the participation of that particular business drops immensely. And when you have municipalities that are right next to you that allow the smoking ban, and if you didn't have it, you would be at an extreme disadvantages, and especially places that are bowling alleys and bars and things like that. The same thing is here. Vaping is allowed by the state in Class B facilities, and I would be totally for this entire ordinance, except in Class B. It is going to put our businesses at an extreme disadvantage. You have municipalities all around us that allow vaping in their Class B, and we're going to have places now where we can't do it. And then we also going to have the issue of enforcing it. So now you're going to have the complaint come in, and people say, oh, somebody's vaping in there, and then the police come in and write the citation, not write the citation, et cetera. I personally would rather have the state ban it. I'm not going to say I'm for vaping, but I just think it puts our businesses at an extreme disadvantage. And that's why I voted against it, and will vote against this particular, when it's brought back up, should it be approved, because of the disadvantage that we have to our Class B people out there that are trying to make a living. A lot of these places aren't doing the best. It's a very, very difficult business to be in the tavern business, to be in the restaurant business, and this is just going to put them at an extreme disadvantage over any, like I said, the other ones. The young people who are getting into the vaping, and there's other people that are trying to get off cigarettes and things like that. We'll go somewhere else. They're just going to say, hey, let's go to Wauwatosa, let's go to Greenfield, let's go to Franklin, because I can't take my vape in there. All right, we'll meet you there. And same with bowling alleys. I think we have 2 or 3. Same exact thing. It's going to put them at a disadvantage. Now, they might not lose their league people this year, but as time goes on, it's a possibility that they could. Again, I wish the state would do this and do it statewide. That way, it puts everybody on an even playing field, gives everybody the same advantage. But for the city of West Dallas to force this on our small businesses, I cannot support that. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Barzak. Alderman Vitale?
Yeah, in Wisconsin, actually, there's about 10 or 11 community already. They have those type of ordinance for the e-cigarettes. So the fact that is the drug administration's already, I believe, they're working on to implement a banning program through the federal system. So basically, really, already we knew that the e-cigarettes are very hazardous. They cause cancer. They cause a lot of problems. And the question is, when the state passed the ruling about banning smoking in any restaurants, in any business, fine, it was a statewide. But the question is, somebody has to take a stand to follow up that eventually is going to happen through the state and through the federal government. It is going to happen. It's a $3 billion annual business. That's what it is, over $3 billion. So you tell me somebody's making money and try to killing. First, they did it with the nicotine, but now they try to force something on the kids, which that's safe. That's what they say. But there's no proofs. They use all different type of chemical for those e-cigarettes. I'm telling you, that's a hell, like I said initially, it's a hell of a big, big business. And we're going to hurt the people. And I'm worried about people, they won't come to West Dallas, to our business location, restaurants and everything else. I don't think so. I think many people today are more intelligently about the fact that smoking causing problems. So that's my biggest concern. That's why I'm for, and I think our community have to take a stand in many times, not just be concerned what could happen. Well, if you're a leader, you take a stand.
Thank you, Alderman Vitale. Alderman Chaplesky.
I'm not a favor of e-cigarettes. I'm not a favor of regular cigarettes. I think what we're doing here is, first of all, we're going to be an island out here, and we literally can have one business 2 blocks away that allows it, and anybody who wants to smoke their e-cigarette will be going to that instead of coming to a business here. But more so what it is, it's us taking more freedoms away from businesses and just people in general. Saying that it causes cancer, all this stuff. Once again, all that stuff is totally unproven. You know, it's when somebody does a little study on something, somebody finds something, and all of a sudden it's now fact. It's not. Somebody has to take a stand. It should be at the federal level, the state level. It shouldn't be at our level. And we should stop taking freedoms away from our businesses and our people because we know better. We are smarter than everybody else. So I just think that this is a mistake for us passing this, and I think we're going to regret it.
Mayor Devine?
Thank you, Alderman Chapletsky. Alderperson Probst.
I want to be very clear. We had this discussion at License and Health last week, Tuesday. No one is taking any rights away from anybody. You want to smoke your vapes, you go for it. You want to smoke your e-cigs, you go ahead, but you do it outside, same places that you smoke your cigarettes. If the state government came down with a healthful ban on secondhand smoking for the people that choose not to smoke, that are out at public institutions and public restaurants and establishments, if there was a health concern there, I believe this carries forward, and there's a health concern with this. The FDA hasn't regulated this. Employees that are stuck inside of businesses where this is permitted, I believe, are at a disadvantage. They could very well suffer long-term health impairment because of this vaping that we don't know very much about. We've got huge lists of information that we've all read through, I'm hoping, and I've yet to find one study that says this is safe. They say that they're not harmful, but they don't come out and tell me they're safe. And until you can do that when we're in an enclosed environment, I think that we have a responsibility for the safety of our citizens and the people that choose to patronize our businesses here in West Allis. So I, again, am not taking a right away from anyone. Smoke all you want, just do it outside. We haven't stopped anybody from smoking their cigarettes. I do work 2 nights a week in a bar, and it has not hurt our business at all. So I disagree with that statement.
Thank you, Alderperson Probst. Alderman Chapletsky with your rebuttal.
If I own a bar and currently someone can smoke an e-cigarette in my bar, I say it's okay, they want to smoke it there. After we pass this, I lose the right to say it's okay for them to do it. I lose the freedom for them to say they can smoke that cigarette there. That's how you take away freedoms. You can put flowers around it, you can paint it up real nice, but you're taking away freedoms. I don't know how you can argue the point that you're not. If you can do something today, and then you can't do it tomorrow because government comes in and says so, you're taking away a freedom.
Any other discussion?
Mr. Mayor, you know, I like
Alderman Vitale.
you know, first of all, I know here some comments coming through, you know, that we have a lot of, you know, the federal government, the state, they apply so many regulations within our communities. But that's about time that sometimes we stand for what we believe. That's the bottom line. To me, it's a council here. We have a community, and I believe we can follow the needs that we need for the business, for the community, and most of all, for the kids and the people of this community. And again, like I said, there's 11 other communities in the state that already done this. So if something is going to happen, that eventually going to be banned. It's going to be done. You know, so to me, I mean, nobody's going to get hurt. There was the same discussions when the cigarettes were, people were smoking in the bars. They were smoking in restaurants. The same problems. People were concerned about, they're going to lose business. What happened? Nothing happened. People, they love to go to an environment where it's clean. People love that. So let's be realistic. When the federal government puts laws, you know, then we complain about it. But if we want to put something on our own, which we can start doing that, to me that's great. At least we have some rights to follow. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Vitale. Any other discussion?
Mayor Devine?
Alderman Weigel.
I'm not sure, but I think my reading of this is actually more restrictive than the current tobacco ban. Because we have a restriction of within 100 feet of any playground equipment or recreational area owned by the city of West Dallas, West Milwaukee School District. So I know when I was at Lincoln PTA, we'd have parents who'd want to smoke, and we'd have to send them out on the sidewalk. But if that sidewalk's within 100 feet of the playground, they could smoke their cigarettes there, but they wouldn't be able to vape there. It may be a minor distinction, but it is more, this is actually more restrictive than the tobacco ban. Unless I'm reading that wrong. Someone could tell me that. Yeah, so this is more restrictive than the state imposed tobacco ban.
Thank you, Alderman Weigel. Any other discussion?
Mayor Devine.
Alderman May?
So, real quick to answer your question, Alderman Weigel, the prohibition against smoking, you got to remember this also redefines smoking to include e-cigarettes. So technically that, you wouldn't be able to smoke a cigarette, a cigar, vaporizer, any of that
So
within 100 feet.
we're actually going to have a more restrictive tobacco ban than the rest of the state of Wisconsin?
The playgrounds, correct. Mayor Devine, my reason for supporting this has to do with public health. There are two distinctions between the e-cigarettes and cigarettes, cigars, and other tobacco, and that's the burning device. The same materials are being put into the e-cigarettes. In fact, the second distinction, that's the first distinction, is the delivery system. The second distinction is it's not regulated. And when the studies are done on these, and there's various studies listed here, they're finding much more, much worse, and much more potent degrees of these chemicals within these e-smoking devices. So again, to me, this is a public health issue. In terms of the businesses, I think when the word gets out that we're one of the few communities that actually ban this, it may actually help bring business in as well from those who don't want to be in those types of restaurant, bar, and bowling establishments. I think I hit all the points I wanted to hit, so thank you, Mayor Devine.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions or discussion or points or
Mayor Devine.
Alderman Barzak?
I'm just, a couple things that were said, that number one, when the smoking ban went in, communities that put the smoking bans in, that there was no drop in business. That is just totally false. There was huge drops in businesses, and in fact, a few of the municipalities overturned their ordinance to allow them back in before the state went in. And then the other one under public health, again, there is no studies out there that the e-cigarettes are harmful. The federal government has not banned them. The states have not banned them. Nobody has banned them. So there is no factual information that are saying that they have found out yet. They think they are. And again, I am not for vaping. I don't like it one bit. And I'm only saying, again, Class B facilities. That's it. I think the schools, the whole shot, I am for that 100%. But I think putting the Class B facilities, we're putting them at a huge disadvantage in our municipality.
Any other discussion?
Mayor Devine.
Alderperson Reinke.
Big controversy here, it sounds like. We have a divided council, I would say. However, there's an ethical issue that's involved in this decision as well. Our job as leaders is to protect the health of our public. This is what we're trying to do, protect the health of our public. What about the rights? You're saying you're taking away the rights. What about the rights of the non-users? We have to put up with these people that smoke and blow vapor, you might say, all over in a restaurant, in a bar. This is unacceptable. We have rights as well. And basically, the health issues later from the exposure now that we are incurring, there is proof that these juices are harmful. They contain very, very bad chemicals. Chemicals that, what did they indicate? That are in, I have all the stats. These chemicals are very harmful, causing heart disease. They cause emphysema. They cause cancer. There are proof. The FDA wouldn't have made the rules they did if if it wasn't a harmful thing for the public. We as leaders have to protect the public. This is an important issue, basically. E-cigarettes I'll go into when we have that ordinance, but the history behind e-cigarettes is not all good. E-cigarettes basically are sometimes harmful than the regular cigarettes themselves. It's been proven. So basically, I guess I'm protecting the non-users. I'm protecting the people that have to put up with the users. We're not saying that they can't vape. We're not saying that. We're saying that there is a place that vaping is allowed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Alderman
you get a little
Chaplesky
tired
and
to
Alderman
listen to me,
Chaplesky
you know.
and then Alderman Vitale.
All right.
If a person does not want to put up with vaping, I allow it in my bar. You don't have to come in my bar, my restaurant, my business, or whatever. You have the right to do that. This is the same argument as the cigarette smoking, too. You know, so instead, you took away the rights of the bar, same way we're doing here, of allowing it in to possibly help their business. If you know that that place is going to have people vaping, and it's so horrible, you don't have to go in there. That's your right. Your right is, I mean, but the bartender, he doesn't have a right. He doesn't have the right to say, well, some of you can come in, some of you, it's just taken totally away from him. We are taking it totally away from him. So there is a difference.
Alderman Vitale?
Yeah, I was going to follow up on the, because I'm the one that proposed the 100 feet. And really, the whole idea came from the recreation department, from the school district, you know. They're so upset about it during the summer months of kids going to, say, even on the East End, the Liberty Heights, you know, parents, a lot of them, just as well smoking his cigarettes or regular cigarettes right next to the kiddie pool area. And they threw their cigarette butts right on the pavement. You know, to me, is that really take rights away from people? I mean, I do agree with Alderman Reinke. What about the people that they're raising questions about at the recreation department? They said this has got to stop. That's nonsense. That those people, even mom or some of the daddy, they're just abusing it. You know, the kids are swimming right there and they smoke right in their faces. Is that very appropriate? So to me, what we're doing, I think it's graciously great to take a stand. And I'm telling you, the business in West Dallas, whether it's a restaurant or bars, they will prosper. Just they've been doing the last years that we, the state and we ban smoking. We create actual outdoor dining for people to be able to go outside and smoke. We've done that, you know. So we're not banning people to even smoke e-cigarettes, but we don't want them to smoke where people they sit and they eat their dinner at the restaurant or they sitting at the bar. Many people don't like that anymore. You know, there's lesser smokers today than we had before. So it's not really an argument. It is not. You know, it's something for the good sake, for the good health of the communities. Thank you, Mayor. I believe I'm done. You know, I won't say nothing.
Sure, you want to think it over?
Fair to mine?
Alderman Barzak.
One thing Alderman Vitale brought up is the playgrounds, et cetera. There's not one person sitting here arguing that point. So that point, nobody's arguing. Not one person is arguing that. We're strictly saying Class B facilities. Let me get clarification on this particular ordinance. If it would go through, at that particular point, you could no longer smoke on any of the decks, on any of the porches, because you have to be 100 feet away from the opening of the building. Am I correct on this? No vaping, no smoking, no nothing on Class B licensed places where we put in all these smoking decks, et cetera, because that's what I'm hearing?
Mayor
Am
Devine?
I right, or?
Mayor Devine? My understanding from, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Alderman Ranky and Alderman Vitale, at the License and Health Committee meeting, I believe we discussed the fact that this would prohibit vaping in the exact same places that smoking is already prohibited. So if they can smoke outside
Yes.
of a restaurant or a bar where they are currently smoking cigarettes, that is going to be the exact same place that they're allowed to vape.
There will be no restriction.
I mean, that was the understanding at the meeting.
Yes.
So just to clarify, so it says within 100 feet of playgrounds only. We don't put something through and it's wrong. Is that correct?
Correct.
Any other discussion? Okay. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Probst.
Aye.
Reinke.
Aye.
Rote.
No.
Vitale.
Aye.
Weigel.
No.
Barzak.
No.
Chapletsky.
No.
Haas.
Aye.
Lysick.
Aye.
May.
Aye.
6 in favor, 4 opposed.
Motion carries.
Mayor Devine,
Alderman Lysick,
I move that we stand in recess until conclusion of the committee meetings.
Second.
we have a motion with a second by Alderperson May. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We
Joint
are
meeting, room
in recess.
128.
128.